What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Detroit Tigers true rebuild here in MLB The Show 20. We have opening day here in year number 3, 2022 opening day for the Detroit Tigers. But first, we do have to simulate all these games against Houston and the LA Angels. So we start off the 2022 regular season on the road. 6 games on the road. That's a really kind of a tough stretch there, but we do get Houston again at home, and it's going to be Mize. And it looks like we are going to start 3-4 on the regular season, which is not a bad way to start off the first 7 games of the year. So what do you say? Let's get right into this. We got Mize against Zack Greinke here in Motown in Comerica Park. And guys, the atmosphere on opening day in Detroit is always electric. It doesn't matter if the Tigers are bad. It doesn't matter if they're good, or if they're having a solid season or not. On opening day, hope springs eternal for Tiger fans, guys. And you guys can see the numbers here for our pitching staff. We are in the top 10 in the American League in almost all the categories there. And that's a big reason why is Mize's first start. 6 innings, got the W, and had 7 strikeouts. And he's going to continue that momentum by striking out Jose Altuve for the first out in Comerica Park in year number 3. Carlos Correa coming up with 1 down already in 2-2 count. And a little fly ball right in front of Jay Bruce. Going to take care of that. That's an easy play. Alex Bregman, though, he's going to lace this single right in front of DJ Peters. He's going to make the, not the greatest throw in the world out there to second baseman Tommy Edman. But he does hold Bregman to a single. Alvarez, though, is going to walk. Now we have runners on first and second with George Springer up to bat. This is kind of a mini jam a little bit here for Mize, but he's going to get out of it as he strikes out Springer on a high cut fastball. It's a good pitch. Good pitch. So good job by Mize to limit the damage. And now we go up against Zack Greinke. Had 5 innings and a 7.2 ERA. Didn't pitch all that great in his first start of the season, so we're looking to take advantage of that. But unfortunately for Tommy Edman, he's going to ground out here for the first out. And then Harold Castro, he's going to get on. He's going to get on with a 1-out walk. And we got a little something here brewing. CJ Cron, 2-2 count. And a little curveball. Just flip that thing up there, and that's going to be a center field out. I'm going to fly this one out to center field. George Springer out there. Easy play for him. He's a Gold Glove caliber player here. Jay Bruce on a full count, and look at this. Going to send this one all the way into the gap. This is why we acquired a guy like Jay Bruce. Around third and headed for home is Castro, and we are up 1-0 thanks to Jay Bruce, the big-time hefty lefty. Let's go to the top of the second inning here. Stubbs going to strike out. Mize again looking filthy. That is his 4th strikeout in the game so far. We're only through 2 innings. Actually, if you want to get technical, an inning and 2/3. Another mini jam here for Mize and the Tigers. Full count. Runners are going here. And Carlos Correa going to flip this one to center fielder. Daz Cameron, he makes the running play. And again, Mize escapes the jam. But you knew at some point it was going to come back to haunt you, right? You can only play with fire for so long until it burns you. Yordan Alvarez gonna mash this thing for a 2-run home run to put the Astros on top. So let's go to the bottom of the 3rd inning and let's see if we can actually make something happen here. Tommy Edman gonna flare this one right in front of left fielder. That's Alvarez, and he can't make the play. So 85 speed, Tommy Edman's gonna get into second base really, really smoothly for a leadoff double. But can we drive him in? That's the question. Jay Bruce had that big-time double in his last at-bat, but Alvarez is going to make the nice running play here as it was just slicing away from him just a little bit. So good play by Alvarez in left field. Mize, though, in the top of the 4th inning is coming back strong. He's going to get a K here on Stubbs again, and a little chopper back up to the mound off of Jose Altuve. So again, Mize shutting down the Astros. We'll see if that continues here in the top of the 5th inning. Strike 3 on Alex Bregman. Another fastball high and outside. He's loving that. That is another strikeout for Mize. Except Alvarez is going to hit another home run. Yep. So he's gone for 2 home runs today off the same pitch. So Mize getting a little cocky here I think. He's believing in his stuff maybe a little too much. But you know what? Hey, despite that, despite those 2 home runs, it's still 3-1. So we are still in business. Here's Daz Cameron with 1 down in the bottom of the 5th inning. He's going to hit a single right through that gap. Right through that Tony Gwynn gap, the 5.5 gap. Right next to shortstop there. 3-1 game. Tommy Edman here going to strike out, and that was a terrible, terrible swing. I'm feeling bad here for my boy, Tommy Edman. It's like, what are you swinging at, dude? 2 down, and a strike is going to get called here, but Daz Cameron's going to slide in safely, so now we're cooking. We got something in business here, but Harold Castro is going to offer at a ball. It would have been a 2-2 count there, but he's going to elect to swing at it and pop it up to shortstop. Let's go to the top of the 6th inning, and we've got Franklin Perez on the mound, and Mize's night is done. His day is done. And we get another solo home run, this time to Carlos Santana, the Tiger Killer. You know, it seemed like every time that he was up to bat for the Cleveland Indians, where he spent a lot of his career, the majority of his career, he was always killing the Tigers, and it just continues here, even with the Houston Astros. So he's going to hit that solo home run off of Franklin Perez, unfortunately, and now it is 4-1. So we're not starting off too good. The offense is kind of stuttering a little bit. We've had a couple of situations where we've been able to drive in some runs, and we just haven't come through. And we get a double play ball here. Nice flip from first to second, back over to pitcher. Franklin Perez covering the bag there. We get out of the inning. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning, and we got Jay Bruce coming up, who was really clutch in his first at-bat. This is his 3rd at-bat, and look at this. Springer can't make the play. It's going to go over his head, and Bruce with a no-out double, and then Nico Goodrum coming up. He's going to lace a single right past first baseman, and we got ourselves a 4-2 game now with nobody down and runners on the corners. That Bruce and Goodrum tandem is coming through for us. Jake Rogers coming up now, and he's going to walk. And now Greinke is in a little bit of a jam. How the pages have turned. Now they're going to call to the bullpen, and the Tigers have an enormous opportunity to take this game back, now only being down by 2 runs. We got ourselves a shot here. Candelario puts a charge into this one. Can it be a grand slam? No. But it will get the job done, as it will go down as a sac fly. Runner on second moves to third, and we get the runner from third home. It is now 4-3. So good job there, Candyman. Now let's rely on DJ Peters. Nope, he's going to put a good swing on it, but he's going to line out to Alex Bregman. And now Daz Cameron comes up in a 4-3 game. Runners on the corners, and he hits a ground ball right past Jose Altuve. The run will score. It is 4-4. Get pumped, baby. I said I believed in Daz Cameron, and he's coming through for us. Runners on first and second, and Edman comes up, and whoa, ground ball. Oh, I thought for a second there that we were going to be able to get to second base. Altuve got a late start on that ground ball, it seemed like, but they are going to get the out there, and we have to go to the top of the 7th. Franklin Perez is still out there, and he's going to get the job done. So let's go to the 8th inning in a situation where now we have runners on first base, but oh, Altuve drops the ball. He dropped the baseball. He bobbled it. And now we got runners on first and second base with DJ Peters coming up in a 2-2 count, and he's going to swing and miss. He's going to offer at that. He's just struggling, guys. He is struggling right now. He can't seem to pick anything up out of the hand. Next up, Daz Cameron, who has been the hero so far into today's game. He's going to pop up. Going to fly out there, and Alvarez is going to make the play. So runners on first and second. 2 down. Tommy Edman come through. Man, I watched it come through for us. But guys, he's going to lift a fly ball to left field. Alvarez makes the catch. And we're going to the top of the 9th inning as Franklin Perez is still out there. 2-2 count. He's going to strike out Jose Altuve with a runner in scoring position. That was a huge, huge pitch in this game here. But Jesse Biddle now comes on, and he's got a job to do. He's going to face off lefty on righty, and a curveball low and in, and Correa swings. That was ball 4, and Biddle gets the pitch to K. Correa. And he's pumped up, guys, and so are these Tigers fans. We have a bottom of the 9th situation here with Jay Bruce against the righty Ross Stripling. Full count, and he's going to walk. If you thought that was going to be a solo home run, a walk-off home run, you were mistaken. But he does get on, and Goodrum sends this into the gap, the left center field gap. Bruce around second. Is he going to challenge for home? He is. He's going to round third and head for home. Here comes the relay throw. He slides in safely. And the Detroit Tigers are going to win their opening day game here against the Houston Astros. Nico Goodrum and Jay Bruce team up to get this walk-off party started. Take a look at this line drive, low and away, sends it right into that gap. I mean, that's what Comerica Park is known for, guys, is these big gaps in the outfield. That's why Austin Jackson, you guys remember Austin Jackson, why he was so good out there. Curtis Granderson, rangy center fielders, man. They'll do a good job here in the spacious Comerica Park, and Nico Goodrum utilized that to perfection, guys. Jay Bruce, when you can score a guy like Jay Bruce, the big burly man from first base all the way to home, you stung it pretty good. So Jay Bruce had himself a great game. It seems like to me so far a really good acquisition here for us in spring training, in the offseason. In spring training he was doing great too. So let's go ahead and get into the rest of the season, guys. Let's go ahead and simulate all the way through April, and we'll kind of get a better idea of where this team stands. All right, so not the best start in April. You always want to get off to a good start in the spring. It's not the best start, 14-19, a couple losses here that were in the blowout variety, like 12-4, 8-12, 12-1. It's not, I mean, our wins are close, and a lot of our losses are close. All of our wins are close. And you sprinkle in some blowout losses there, like that 12-1 and 8-12. So maybe and then the 3-11 too. So maybe what we need to do is, when we focus on this team as like what they need, let's focus on what this team's doing here. So our starting pitchers, Mike Minor's at a 3.69, Fulmer's at a 1.89, Boyd at a 5.67. So Matthew Boyd is really struggling. And Tarek Skubal is up to a 78. He's getting a lot of progression there. Casey Mize doing not too bad. Not too bad. I like those numbers. 4.23, 1.17. The whip is way high, though. The whip is very high, but that ERA is not too bad either. Jordan Balazovic at a 4.71 and 1.33 down in AAA. Spencer Turnbull, 1.29. That's really good. I'm happy for Spencer Turnbull. He's really turning it around down in AAA. I want to see him do a little bit. I want him to continue that. He's got 28 innings. I want to see him to get to about maybe 50, maybe 60 innings before we start considering bringing him up. Because, you know, guys get on hot streaks and then they don't really come off of that. Then you call them up. Guys that are on hot streaks and then they start to fall back down a little bit. They start regressing towards their mean, towards the middle part of where they're at, where they're truly at. And, you know, you get more of a better picture. Sample size. It's all about sample size. I think 28 innings right now, not really worthy of a call-up currently. Got Shang here at a 76, 197 and a 1. He's continuing to pitch well no matter what level he's at. So our starting pitching, got a lot of hot streaks here. I like what I'm seeing. David Castillo, one of our draft picks, 4.32 and a 104. Eric Uleman, 208 and 115. Our pitching is looking pretty decent. It's looking pretty decent. Matt Manning, 23 strikeouts, 12 walks, 205, 1.3. And then, of course, Chris Archer, 604, 212. So that move is not helping us. And that was kind of a gamble. That was a little bit of a risk. If you guys remember, he was a Cincinnati Red, and we traded away Danny Norris in order to acquire Jose Garcia, a 23-year-old prospect at the shortstop position, where I actually think that he's going to be pretty good for us. Eventually, when Nico Goodrum either retires or he goes bye-bye, then we've got Jose Garcia that we can kind of rely upon. He's a 69. He's a 69 with that B potential. He's gonna be doing some good things in the future. But yeah, that's why we made that move. Danny Norris just didn't fit with us, what we were trying to do, and Chris Archer just seemed like he could fit. And as of right now, 26 Ks, 20 walks, 6 ERA. it ain't looking too hot. We can see some numbers here like we talked about with our pitching staff. Let's look at the bullpen here. Scooble, 4.45, 108. Franklin Perez, 4.9 with a 1.7. Biddle with a 9.6 and a 1.8. Ugh. Look at the bullpen, guys. 8.18, 2.45. Tommy Canley's been solid. Matt Barnes has been terrible, 7.7. And Joe Jimenez, 6.94. I'm not sure what is going on there with our pitching staff. And if I go back and look at some of these box scores, like in our close losses, let's just see who keeps getting saddled with losses. So we've got Perez, a bullpen loss, starter loss, bullpen loss, looks like a blown save. Looks like, yeah, Boyd, Archer, can't get out of it. Mike Minor gets a loss. Tarek Skubal got the win. Vizcaino with a loss. Barnes with a loss. Jimenez with a loss. Perez with a loss. So it's our bullpen. It is our bullpen. I mean, look at the starters when they get registered for wins. Minor, Mize, Boyd, Archer, Skubal gets the win here. He picks up another win. Casey Mize gets a win. Fulmer gets a win. So I guess it's kind of a mixed bag because you look at when your starter gets a W, that means that he didn't go the whole game, right? So your bullpen did contribute for those wins. But looking at the losses, like a lot of these close losses, let's just see if our bullpen is really the problem. Let's just see. Barnes gives up 3 runs on 3 walks, no hits, even. Wow. He gave up no hits, but all 3 runs came in on a walk. Ugh, that's terrible. What happened here? Casey Mize with a loss there. Vizcaino in a close loss. 2 runs, 3 walks. So we might need to focus on trying to get a bullpen piece then. I mean, we've invested quite a bit into our bullpen with trades and free agency, and it just doesn't seem to be working out for us. Doesn't seem to be working out for us. I mean, we can see K per 9, walks per 9, 55 walk per 9. That's kind of a problem, guys. 44, 43. Maybe this is the issue. I mean, we've already seen it in simulation. These guys don't have a lot of control. Let's take a look and see how our hitters are doing. This is odd. Why is Bobby Dahlbeck leading off? I don't like that. Lineups are manual. I didn't do that. But let's just see how everybody's doing. I'll make some changes here and get this lineup back to looking pretty good here. But Bobby Dahlbeck, 286. He should be the starting third baseman, but Jamer starting to get on a little bit of a hot streak there, even though he's a 74. He's hitting 3 home runs, 272. DJ Peters still, man. I had some high hopes for DJ Peters, but he's starting to really slow down from that rookie season in 2020. Yeah, hitting 248, now down to 194. We'll keep plugging him in there and seeing how he does, but I'm not liking that. Why is Isaac Paredes in center field? What is happening? Let me make some fixes around here, and hopefully this is going to help our sim. This is crazy. So here's what happened, guys. Apparently, we got Daz Cameron down here on the injured list, so we have to call somebody up. We gotta have somebody play center field, and it's between Riley Green and Brennan Davis. It's between one of these 2 guys at the AAA level. Brent Rooker is not technically a center fielder in this game, so with that 59 speed, I'm not too confident in that. You get a little bit of a bump there with 62 speed for Riley Green, but 67 for Brennan Davis. The fielding numbers are very, very similar. Riley Green, Brennan Davis, it's really tough, but Brennan Davis has a little bit more vision, a little less power than Riley Green. It looks like Green is the better hitter overall, 68, 59, 64, 57. A little more pop in his bat. I think you got to go with the prospect, the 21-year-old prospect, and give him a shot. So it looks like it's going to be Riley Green. Jorge Bonifacio, you could call him up. So you're not using the young guy's option. So it looks like Jorge Bonifacio is going to be the guy for me. I know it kind of went back and forth there, but it seems like that's like the best move to make. That way you can get Daryl McKenna a little bit more at-bats there at the AAA level. Carlos Santos down in AA is not hitting for a lot of contact, but he is hitting a lot of home runs. But Bonifacio, he's just the better player than those two center fielders that we talked about. And I do feel a little loyalty to him because I feel like we did him a little dirty trying to decide who was going to get the call down and who's going to get the call up back in spring training. So I'm going to move Bonifacio up to the big league club. We are currently 25-26, so we're one man short. And then we're going to move Bonifacio into center field in the lineups. And again, we're going to have to fix this. I'll be right back. All right, so that lineup looks a little bit better, guys, right? Tommy Edman at the top, Nico Goodrum at number 2, Crone at 3, Jay Bruce 4, cleaning it up, Bonifacio in the 5, Jamer in the 6, Dahlbeck at 7, Peters, and then Caleb Joseph. He's actually not doing too bad at 304. Look at the bench. We got Miguel Cabrera here. Oh, man. 148, 27 at-bats. He's got more at-bats than, let's see, than Bobby Dahlbeck. He's getting some playing time in there a little bit, but, man, that 91 contact, it is hard to sit. It really is hard to sit, but, I feel like I have to do it. He's hitting 148. We could get him out of that slump a little bit against righties. You could make the argument you want to start Cabrera over Dahlbeck. That might be an option. I know I'm kind of going back and forth in this episode. There's a lot riding on this episode. We gotta make sure in year number 3 that we're putting our best foot forward. The player, you look at that and you're thinking, Dahlbeck is the better overall player right now. He's a little bit better on defense. He's got more power numbers than Cabrera. But that 91 contact is it's really hard to pass up. But we're trying to get this Tigers team to hit a little more home runs. And that was kind of the major goal in this offseason. And, contact is a little more predictable. It's a little more consistent. But plugging Cabrera in here at DH, I'm not a fan of it right now. I think that this is the smarter move. I think Dahlbeck getting that playing time versus giving the playing time to a 38-year-old player like Cabrera. You can come off the bench, man. You're 38 years old. You're not going to be playing on this team. I'm sorry. You're going to be a Tigers legend for sure, and a Major League Baseball legend for sure. But I got to give some playing time to some of these younger guys and make sure that our future is intact. So I like this order. I think that this order is going to work. I guess you could make an argument that Harold Castro should be able to play too, but that 43 power, again, at DH, I'm looking for power, man. I'm looking for 69 and 62. I think that that's a big boost for this offense. And then we got against lefties, we got Edman, Goodrum, Crone, Candelario in the number 4 spot over Brent Rooker. So I'm thinking that this is the little sneaky move. So if Jamer can get on, he's got some decent vision at 58. Decent vision. Then you got Jay Bruce in the number 6, Rooker at 5. You got 75 power here and 71. I kind of like this because we talked about contact being a little more consistent. These guys up top, Edman, Goodrum, and Crone, it's not the greatest. It's good, but it's not the greatest. So if you've got 3 outs here, you get Candelario that can get on. Rooker can drive in Candelario. Then you got Bruce to back that up. It's a pretty solid middle of the order. Again, not the greatest. It's good, but it could be a little bit better. But we are working with a realistic style of rebuild here. We're trying to work with the pieces that we have. All right, guys, so our month of May was pretty 500 level, guys. We went 14 and 15 for the entire month, and you guys have noticed, even going back to April, we're 2 months in now, we're still playing 500 level baseball, and just looking at the losses here, I mean, yeah, you're going to throw in some blowout losses here, 4-10, 5-0, but all of our wins are close, 8-5, 6-4, 5-4, 3-1, and our losses are close too. So it's the same thing that we've seen in April. We're losing close games and we're winning close games. There's not a lot of games that we're winning by blowout fashion, which tells me that our pitching staff And our bullpen is actually not doing too bad, despite the statistics that you're seeing, because, you know, hey, MLB The Show does this. They just inflate pitcher stats. So I think what you guys have probably noticed with this lineup is that we just need a guy. We just need another guy. These are pretty solid players, but we don't have a dude, you know? Like you guys were kind of on me about the Mookie Betts free agent, not acquiring him through free agency, or not going after another big time bat. And I think through this 2-month test phase, I think it's pretty obvious that the reason why we're just not winning a lot of games is our pitching staff isn't doing too bad. We could probably serve to use another bullpen piece, but it's looking like that we just have a bunch of dudes, but we don't have like an anchor. We don't have a guy to really go after and really rely upon and really drive in some runs for us. I mean, we got 13 RBIs from our number 3 hitter in CJ Cron. You know, he's not a true number three guy. Jay Bruce with 28 RBIs, he's not doing too bad, but Bonifacio with 14. He's hitting 350 since he got the call up. 80 at bats compared to everybody else at 203, 177. Like, his production is off the charts right now. And is he gonna be the guy? I'd probably not want to rely on Jorge Bonifacio to be the guy. We need to go out and we need to acquire and make a big splash right here and right now and go after and get somebody that's going to help this offense really push it over the top. And what kind of player is that going to be? And it just depends on what we got to give up. That's going to be the other part of this, is that, you know, who do you acquire? You know, we're already investing. It's like a sunk cost here with Miguel Cabrera, $31 million. We do have quite a bit of cash flow in order to make a trade work. But do you move CJ Cron down to like your DH? Do you acquire a big-time first baseman that's going to be able to drive in a bunch of runs? That could be an option. Second base, I'm happy with Tommy Edman. He's a good defensive player. I'm happy with his production. Third base, we've invested a little bit into third base, thinking that, you know, Dahlbeck at 26 was going to take that next step, get some playing time. I'm happy with Dahlbeck. I'm happy with Jamer. I think those guys, they've got to keep playing. I think that we've got something with those two players. Shortstop with Goodrum at 84. He's one of our better players. Do we really want to lose Nico Goodrum in that fashion? You know what I mean? Like, not give him the at-bats that he needs at an 84 overall. I guess technically you could move him over to third base. That could be an option. You know, you start benching Dahlbeck and Candelario and acquire a better shortstop that's going to start driving in some runs too. Left field, I think this is the position that we need to hit, guys. I really was hoping that DJ Peters was a good investment. I still think that he can do it, but all things considered, from that rookie season in 2020 all the way down to last year and this year, it's just not really working out for him right now. So I don't really know what's going on with him, but maybe he just needs a mental break. Maybe he's not totally ready for the limelight. He had a good first season with us, really made a name for himself, but you know, that was when things were a little easier. Expectations weren't really that high, right? So now that he's got this starting gig and doesn't have really anything to prove, it's starting to go down a little bit. So maybe that's a position that we need to focus on. Center field, we've obviously stuck with Jorge Bonifacio there. There's some positions here in our outfield that I think we could fill. So let's go ahead and try to find a trade and a trading partner that's gonna get us over the top with an offensive piece. All right, guys, so after all the moves that I considered, and there was quite a bit. I mean, we had guys that were up on the board for me, such as, let's just take a look here real quick. We had guys like Gregory Polanco that we could have gotten for a little bit cheap there. 30 years old, 79 overall, left-handed bat, some good contact numbers, some okay, decent power. But ultimately, I had decided on going after Teoscar Hernandez. And, you know, we could have gone after Trey Mancini. You know, some pretty good numbers there. Also can play first base. Can play designated hitter if we really want him to. The fielding at 69. You know, he's going to have to play for us. You know, we can't, between Trey Mancini and CJ Cron, like one of those two guys are going to have to play first. You I don't feel like you're gonna stick Trey Mancini out in the outfield. Like, one of those guys has to play first base, and the other guy's got to be the designated hitter. So I'm looking for a guy that's gonna take over DJ Peters' spot in left field, and I think that guy is gonna have to be Teoscar Hernandez. You know, it's an 85 overall player, and he's pretty cheap at $3.9 million, and he's in his first year of his contract for 5 years, so we have him under control too. So it's a really good move for us. He's 29. He's still going to keep progressing, and you know, the speed speaks for itself. You know, 78, so he can run down some balls out there in left field, in Comerica Park. The fielding numbers are not that great, but you kind of take that, kind of deal with that with Teoscar Hernandez, because you do get the power numbers at 79 and 80 with some pretty decent contact numbers. Plus, he's having a pretty solid season at 257 and 340 OBP. Those are some pretty good numbers. I like Teoscar Hernandez, and this is on a bad Baltimore Orioles team. And honestly, we're not even really giving up that much, in my opinion. We're giving up Ray Saucedo, a 27-year-old player, just a depth guy that's never really going to seem like he's going to make it. We're not really giving up any of our big-time prospects. You know, Christian Stewart, a guy that might be able to play for Baltimore this season. See what they have in him at 28 years old. And then Spencer Turnbull, we're just pretty loaded at the pitching staff spot, and he's 29. So it really doesn't make any sense for us to hang on to Spencer Turnbull, and I've already given up on him as it is with the guys that we do have on our roster. And it looks like, you know, they could use him. They could really use him at 72 overall. Spencer Turnbull, he can waste away his career with that orange beard, wearing an orange Baltimore Orioles jersey. So I think this move makes sense. I think it's going to be a good player for us. Teoscar Hernandez, come on over, buddy. And you are now a Detroit Tiger. Looks pretty good there in that English D. He's currently an 81. I think that might be because he's on the bench. Yeah, so we'll move him up to being a starting player for us, and we'll move him to left field. Might even move him to center field. All right, guys, so our lineup just got, I think, quite a bit better, so we'll have to see exactly what the problem is. Is it our pitching staff, or is it our offense? And I think getting Teoscar Hernandez in this lineup, we're going to see. We're going to find out in those box scores. We're going to see if our offense helps out that pitching staff and we can kind of get over the hump and start winning some more games. But it's a good start. It's a really good start. Teoscar Hernandez is a good player, and we have him under contract for 5 more seasons. I mean, look at that, 3.9, 4.5. It's going to keep going up. But I think when we lose Miguel Cabrera and that cash flow, I mean, look how much we're paying him, $31 million for the next 2 seasons. Once we get rid of those contracts, those bad contracts on this team, it's mostly Miguel Cabrera's contract that's bad anyway. But once that leaves, it's going to open us up for more players that we're going to be acquiring, like Teoscar Hernandez. And, you know, batting number 4th, 79, 80 power, that's going to be good for that cleanup role. It seems like he's going to be all or nothing a little bit at 65 and 55. I mean, at 257, he's having a good season. So we'll see. We'll just see what happens. I'm really anxious about it. All right, guys. I'm just getting ready to simulate June. And as always in June, it is the first-year player draft. So let's get right into this and see what we're going to look at. I haven't even looked at the scouting report on any of these players here. So this will be fairly interesting to see what's up here on the board. So I think looking at the roster and what we would want to consider taking, we know that our pitching staff is really young. We got a lot of players that are up there that are going to be relied upon in the future, like Skubal, Mize. We're a little old there up at the top with Minor and Boyd at 34 and 31. So I'm not really concerned about that. We're considered deep at starting pitching, which is true. And unless we find like a blue chip prospect here in the pitching staff, in the pitching group, which we don't, we didn't really scout pitching for whatever reason here. I always leave it to Otto. I want to take on more of a GM type of role versus like me actively doing the scouting. So I set all that to Otto and see what those guys can do out there. So we got spread pretty thin down here, and there's not a lot of blue chip guys left over. I think that's mostly because of where we're selecting. We're like right in the middle of the entire order. Yeah, there's just no blue chip prospects left. So let's go to the potential, actually MLB ETA, and see what we got here. So we got this guy, Trevor Parks. 94-mile-an-hour fastball from Alabama. Low injury risk, 6'2". Stamina's very high. Control is pretty low, pretty below average. Velocity could be elite level. Velocity plus the break could be elite level. So Trevor Parks looks like he's going to be a pretty darn good player. We already addressed outfield last season with Carlos Santos and Daryl McKenna, so we're very young there. Those are good players, 69 and 64. Obviously, if there's a better player, you don't ever want to turn that down, like Derek Underwood. This is a pretty good player, but his injury risk is very high, and I'm not really looking at that too much. Maybe shortstop is the way to go. We did not scout shortstop a whole lot. So Bobby McHenry. He's fast, average injury risk. His fielding is, that's not good for a shortstop, man. You can't be an above average fielder at shortstop. I want you to be a slick, smooth fielding shortstop. He's going to be able to hit, but not a lot of power, so I don't know if that's really worthy of a first round selection. Lorenzo Anaya, Rondell Weber, those aren't guys that I'm considering either. Second base, David Yuang. Pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Or David Jung, maybe. Average injury risk, 6'3". He can't play shortstop, apparently. Very good fielder. 70. It's well above average of a fielder. It's good contact. Power numbers will end up being an average power hitter. Good discipline. Good vision. Speed. Reaction. Pretty solid player at second base. We could go with this guy, a little bit of a project, Dennis Trayer. Although he doesn't seem like he's going to beat out David Yuang or Jung. So maybe that's an option. David Jung might be an option. First base doesn't seem to be an option either. A lot of guys here at 2026 plus. Chad Span. Not really looking at that. We could sort here again. Catching. Nothing really catching my eye. Yeah, get it? Nothing really catching my eye. Relief pitchers. I never go after relief pitching. I just feel like it's a wasted pick. You know, you could go after starters. That could be your relief guys. I don't know. Just never understood that. That might have to be the pick. I mean, you could go with a third baseman, but again, we've got Isaac Paredes here at 22 with 71. Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty solid players, although I don't really like that Michael Aquavito, his numbers. Good fielder. As far as batting average goes, I'm not too interested in that. So I guess the pick is going to have to be David Jung. So there we go. David Jung is our selection. And let's continue on and see what we're going to look at here. I want to see if there's anybody. Look at this. Look at Trevor Parks' potential. He's got a D potential. It's only halfway scouted, too. So I'm going to sort this by scouted. It's all these deep guys. Bobby McHenry. We could go after Bobby McHenry. We were talking about Bobby McHenry. We could go after middle infield right here, too. His potential's a C, though. It's leaving a little bit left to be desired there in the fielding, though. Remember, we were talking about not having the ability to be that slick smoothing, or that smooth fielder. He is a 2025 expectation. I think we're just going to have to bite the bullet on at least one of these guys. Let's go to potential. Yusniel Valdez. 93, 90 cut. Do we really need pitching, though? I'm not convinced that we need pitching. We could take a chance on this third baseman, Marshall Hutchinson. I just want to take a look at this guy. Third baseman. It's always tough when you get to this draft type of thing, because you look at some of these guys and you start falling in love with them a little bit. You know, I mean, look at those numbers right there. So he'd be kind of a project, but that potential is insane. If we could do right by Marshall Hutchinson, we could have a really, really good player on our hands. Above average contact against righties, well above average against lefties. Power numbers could be average. The fielding is good. The discipline's good. The speed is okay. I mean, he might be a guy that you could work with and, really, really find something here. But Willie Schreiber, a 6'2", 19-year-old guy from Canada, average injury risk, not projected to be the better hitter of the two guys between Hutchinson and Schreiber. I don't know. I mean, yeah, you've got Paredes there at a 71. He's just not getting any playing time in Detroit. I guess you take a third baseman. I'm looking at best available. And right now, looking at if you sort it by potential and all, he'd be the third, quote-unquote, best available guy that we would be looking at. And again, I'm not looking at pitching right now. I'm not looking at outfield. I've already got some pretty good outfielders. Luis Mosquera, look at that. Look at those speed numbers. That's pretty elite level speed too. Average injury risk from Venezuela. 5'11" though. He's pretty tiny. Looks to be kind of like a Leody Tavares type of player. I don't know. It's tough. And we already took a second baseman. I'm going to go with Marshall Hutchinson. 20 years old. Everybody seems to like his potential, so I'm going to take Marshall Hutchinson here in that competitive balance round. And then I'm just going to simulate this just to get through the draft and move on. So we did end up getting a W here against Boston. We'll go ahead and see what the results of the draft picks, and then we'll also simulate the rest of June. And we did a bang-up job, guys. That's a really good job. David Jung, 87 potential at 20 years old at second base. I like this. He's got some pretty decent fielding numbers already. His power we knew was not going to be amazing. Stealing's an 81, 61 speed, good contact numbers. For a 20-year-old player, he could step in right now. He could play on our team right now and be a contributor. But we knew this going in about Marshall Hutchinson, that he's got all the tools in the world in order to do some really good things for us, right? But he's a 48 overall player right now, but he could be an 81. Chad Span, the same deal. At first base, you work with him. He's going to progress really rapidly as long as you put him in the right spots and in the good positions. Henry Tucker at second. This was an auto draft player at 51 overall. It seems like our guys that we picked in all of this draft, besides David Jung, are all project players, which is kind of to be expected when you're just sitting there in the middle of the order, especially with how we've already filled out a lot of the guys and a lot of positions that we addressed in the last two drafts and in free agency. So I'm more than happy with this draft, even though the overalls are not too good as they stand right now. But I do like those potentials, and I'm willing to hang on to these guys, and I'm willing to bet on Span and Marshall Hutchinson to make it. I know David Ewing is going to make it for sure. And of course, we got to see him in their Tiger uniform. You got to do it, right? I mean, look at that. Don't they look so cool? Nice little winning streak here after a big losing streak too, guys. That was actually pretty nice to see. We won some games here at the top of June, but then kind of fell off a little bit. That might be something to do with the team starting to get used to the batting order and shifting in the order. And then after that, things got hot. Baltimore, Seattle, some good wins there. San Francisco beat up on them in a sweep. Seattle was a sweep. Baltimore ended up taking the series. Wow, ugh, disgusting. But we ended June with above 500. I mean, we're 6 games from 500 level baseball, which is a big improvement for us. I mean, we were not doing that hot. So I want to see how everybody did for the month of June. Ray Del Villar, a potential player, closing pitcher, .93. Struck out 12 batters in 9.2. That's awesome. Jesus Anaya did well. Brent Rooker, Oh, he's taken the demotion pretty well. 333, 20 runs over 90 at bats. It's pretty solid. And then Antonio Novoa, nice, 376 and 109. Jonah Monroe struggled, but this is awesome. This is awesome. So this Tigers team starting to take a little bit of a step forward thanks to the addition of an offensive player like Teoscar Hernandez. Michael Fulmer doing well, still doing well. 7-7, so that I would expect to go up now that we have a little more offense, just a little more offense. Mike Minor still, 4-7, but he's pitching pretty solidly. 4.2 with a 1.2. Matthew Boyd starting to lower that ERA down at 4.7 and 1.4. Tarek Skubal, I think it's time for Tarek Skubal to get into the rotation. I think he's earned it. He's 7-3 over 106 innings in the bullpen. I think it's time to test it out a little bit. We'll see who's struggling at the starting position, and we'll make that change. But Shang, again, down in AAA, doing his thing, 106, 216. He might deserve a call-up at some point, too. Balazovic, not bad. 96 strikeouts and 19 walks, though. Like, he is doing amazing with the K to walk ratio. Casey Mize, struggling, man. Struggling. 91 Ks, 49 walks, 6-1 with a 1.8. That's unfortunate. I would have really wanted him to see a little more progression there. But Chris Archer, he's picking it up a little bit. I don't think that that's really worthy of a demotion quite yet. But when you look at Tarek Skubal with the overall rating there, 106 innings, you might have to consider it, right? Josiah Gray, 287, 1.5. I like what we're doing here with the pitching staff. I want to see one thing here. Is Skubal in here? No. It's still Chris Archer. This might be a good time to leave the episode. I want to get your guys' opinion on this and get you guys involved in this rebuild a little bit more than you have been. Yeah, it's ultimately a true rebuild, and I kind of want to take control of this rebuild. But I think it's a good time to stop. I mean, it's a pretty long episode as it is. I want to know what you guys think. Do you want to move Chris Archer to the bullpen? Do you think that's the fair thing to do here? Do you think Tarek Skubal will add to the starting rotation? I mean, they're pretty similar, right? 80K per 9 for Archer, 70K per 9. Skubal's got a little bit better of a hit per 9, better walk ratio there, home run per 9. Stamina's the same. Velocity is just a little in favor of Archer. Control a little in favor of Archer. Break 69. So they're pretty close, guys. They're pretty close. Do you think it's more beneficial to keep Tarek Skubal where he's at with the A potential? He's going to keep going up. If you put him in the right spots to succeed, he's gonna do well. Or do you just throw him to the wolves, basically, and see what he's got? We're 6 games back from 500 level baseball. Something to consider. And then we look at the standings here. We're 16 games back from the Twins. And we're still, despite the move for Teoscar Hernandez, we're still 7.5 games back. Acquiring Teoscar Hernandez was a shot in the dark to try to rejuvenate this offense, to try to get more wins in our win column. And it also helps us in the long term because he's got a 5-year contract with us. So it helps us long term and short term. And given how things are shaking out between the Indians, the Rays, the White Sox, I just don't think now that we're into June, back in May, I mean, we have been actually, so April and May, we were still 7.5 games back from the wild card. Now, even a month afterward, we're still 7.5 games back. So we're really not we're not making up any ground. We've got July, we've got August, and September. We got 3 months left to go. Obviously, anything can happen. But I'm kind of on the fence with this, and I want your guys' opinion on this because I want to see some comments in the comment section letting me know what you would do in this situation. Would you give Chris Archer the boot to get Tarek Skubal in there, or would you just leave Tarek Skubal in the bullpen in limited spots where he's going to succeed so that he's ready to take that number 5 job next year in 2023? So let me know in the comment section below, guys. That's going to be it for today's episode of the Detroit Tigers True Rebuild, part number 6. And we will move to part number 7 to finish out the rest of year number 3. And I'm liking the way the offense has been playing as of late. I mean, you guys can see it here, right? Everybody's performing, guys. 288, 308 for Jamer, 239, 10 home runs, 31 for Bobby Dahlbeck. He's on a hot streak. 289 for Jake Rogers. Jake Rogers at the 9 hole has 20 home runs and 41 ribs. Like, these are pretty good numbers, guys, for the offense. Harold Castro, 280. Paredes moving on up. He was batting below the Mendoza. Now he's above it, 205. I don't know. I think we're just going to kind of hang out at that 500 level this season. We got some pretty good pieces that we could probably trade away this season, namely like Jay Bruce. You know, he was kind of a guy that we acquired just to kind of help us with a little bit of a playoff push, and unfortunately that's just not going to happen. We just ran into a situation where our AL Central opponents are just playing too good. They're just playing too good. And, you know, Bruce is a guy that we can move on from. Somebody will want a left-handed bat that's got 83 power, right, against righties. Team that's in the playoff mix. But the trade for Hernandez was a really good one, I feel like. Bonifacio was a nice surprise this season, so that's awesome to see. And then Jamer was great too. So the acquisition of Hernandez is really helping to extend this lineup out. So again, let me know what you think in the comment section below about the pitching staff, and we will continue on for part 7 for the second half of year number 3. Guys, leave a like if you like this thing. I'll see you in the next one. As always, peace.